station. Speaking of which, you see, this is the problem with this Friday show. It takes a life of its own. I had planned that I was going to do 1, 2, next thing, something else, 3, 4 is popping up. Today we have guests coming through on the program. E360 is promising to be a very full-on affair today. We're going to get in here. We're going to hear views and also some interesting stories from some interesting guests. You really don't want to miss that this morning. But let's start at what your child is copying. So you see, everybody knows. I don't think any one of you who's listening right now is ignorant of the fact that the child in your neighborhood or in your home basically is copying you. But there comes a time when parents often say, but I don't do this thing, neither does my wife. Nobody in my house does or says this thing. Where does this child pick this from? It's okay, maybe it's from school. Okay, and the question that always follows up is this: why is that child making a copy of something that the child did not get to see in school? Well, I tell you why. Now, you know that almost 80 if not 90% of everything the child, particularly in the infancy, gets to see or do is from the parents or the immediate vicinity. But did you know that a child is more likely to copy from his or her own peers than even you? So when babies are together, all right, if a baby from a house has been copying something weird from the family, when it comes and meets another baby and they're spending time together, guess what? There's going to be an interaction. There's going to be a copying. You know this. Now, bringing me to my question for you, because some of you are very good at watching what you say, how you say in front of your child, but you are not quite sure that your child is not seeing everything that you do. Emphasis on do. Now, Robert Fulgham says, don't worry that the children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. Remember that? Don't do what I say, but do what I don't do what I do what I say. The child has the wires crossed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm opening the phone lines. Some of you have children, all right? Whether they are in their toddler ages or their preteens or they're adults, I dare you, please call me this morning and answer this one simple question. Are you sure? Are you aware of the habits your child is copying or mirroring? Whether you're hitting your wife, whether you're spending time kissing your wife, whether you are bringing things to your children, whether you are actually complimenting your wife, or they see you outside as the Igbereja one of the street, are you aware of what it is that you are doing? Society is bad. Look at yourself.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, let's get straight to it. 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 0817923-0002, 017-923-0007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. WhatsApp is 08090306416, 08090306416. As always, please, when you call us, turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. Didn't see it or hear it. Please do not make mention of it. Very importantly, please do not make inciting statements. Keep your comments civil, right? So we can enjoy having a great conversation with you this lovely Friday morning. All right, shall we? Let's get straight to it. All right, so Mr. Frank, straight off the bat on WhatsApp says, hi, Joe, good morning. I really don't know how well I can watch myself around my children. You know, what you just said just got me thinking. Do we have to be very cautious and no pretend in front of our children? We want the very best for our children. Sometimes I find that my little boy copies the way I even walk, even though I know I don't have a very good walking step. What do I do? Do I stop playing with my child? Well, I am not saying you should stop playing your child. I'm no doctor. I'm no child psychologist. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's very good that you made mention of this, Frank. You know, your child is mirroring you. There's nothing we can say about that. Your child is mirroring you. But it's a good question. Do I stop being myself around my child because you have maybe some bad traits? Maybe that's what they make reference to, active parenting. Right? Zion is in GRA. Zion, good morning to you, please.
Like psychology will say, the mind of the child is like a tabula rasa. What you're writing there is what they grew up with. As parents, your lifestyle, your children will copy it. If you're a troublemaker, they will become troublemakers. If you're a gossiping mother, they will become gossipers. If you are a reader, they will read. I want to see pastors' children that mimic their pastor, holding stick or spoon, like see they're praying or preaching. Haven't you seen it? So you find out that to a large extent, we the parents, we fail to understand that it is who we are. That is what our children too will look like. So if you are that type that used to steal from the soup pots when you were a baby, your children too will steal.
But if they don't see you stealing, how will they copy it?
It is a gene, it's a trait, it's in you.
So you can't say everything that. Okay, imagine a father like Mr. Frank who says, look, that he's seen his son try to walk like him, but he knows that there are certain things that he does that are not good, but he has to try and hide it from him. How does he do it?
You can only hide it if you can hide. But as they grow, they know, they mimic you, they see you. Who taught my children that by 6 o'clock in the morning they should listen to news? Who told them that? Who told them they should be reading their books? Because somebody has been reading. The truth is that is why they sing. Hollywood is you just providing. If you are quiet type, check the life of your children. If I said something sometimes, anywhere, any day, you see my children outside, they are quiet. I see something is wrong somewhere. Because I'm not a quiet type. They must discuss. I'm not saying they will look for trouble. They will be discussing, they will laugh, they will make gist. They must behave like that. What am I trying to say? When you start amend your ways as a father, it starts from the day your wife comes into the house. So if you're the type that hugs your wife in the morning, you see, they will continue to hug themselves. If you are the type that quarrels her, they will quarrel themselves. If you are the type that make peace immediately, they will make peace immediately. It's a trait, it's spiritual. You cannot remove it. The apple tree does not fall. The apple does not fall far from its tree, right? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Zion. All right. Once again, this quote has to be the quote I like to leave with you today. We'll go on the break very shortly. Don't worry that the children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. Robert Fulgham. Once again, are you aware of what you are exposing your child to? Are you aware of what habits your child is copying or mirroring off of you? Hello, Port Harcourt returns. Clock already. So much to say and very little time for us to do that. Now, once again, our WhatsApp and Telegram number is 08090306416 08090306416. That's where you'll find us on WhatsApp and on Telegram. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook, and on X at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on X. This morning we're talking about children mirroring. Basically, they are looking at the image in front of them and they are copying what it is that they see. You know how you can't walk away from your image, right? Well, that environment that you are, exposing your child to, or that maybe you can afford, is what that child is obviously going to mimic. It's obviously what that child is going to, as it were, reproduce or maybe improve upon. Hopefully that's the prayer for every parent, that your child does better than you. Right? But are you aware of your traits that you are actually exposing your child to? You know that old line that we always say, do as I do, all right? And then now became, do as I say, not as I do. Well, unfortunately, children do not walk that way. They don't work that way. Once again, let me read this quote. If you forget anything that we do today on this program, do not forget this. Robert Fulghum says, don't worry that your children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. The question is, what are you showing them? What are you presenting to them that they should mirror? My name is Jude. Welcome to your conversation station.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 017-923-0007. All right, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. And then just scroll down to WhatsApp and Telegram. The number is 08090306416, 08090306416. That's where you find us on WhatsApp and on Telegram. All right, this here is from Anne. Anne says, good morning, Jude. You're talking about children being exposed to their parents' drama and their parents' issues. My question is, what about those parents who don't even expose their children to anything? We live in a time, rich or poor, parents are leaving the house earlier and coming back later. Throughout the day, who do you think the child or the children is being exposed to? And you say the society is bad. Everybody outside is the one that the child or children are following. Don't you see the way that they walk, they talk, even the music that they listen to? They barely listen to the music that their parents listen to. They listen to what everybody else is listening to. She does have a point though, right? A lot of parents are leaving their houses or their homes earlier than they used to. So 5-6 a.m. in the morning, some people are out. Okay, all right. Well, as I'm working, so obviously someone else is working in the background. Anyway, but the point is, a lot of parents are actually leaving the house earlier than before, and so it's creating that scenario where the children, do not get to see their parents until later in the evening. I think everybody knows this, right? But what can the parents do? Let's say from 9, like right now, till about 5 or 6, when they will eventually see their children. What can they do? What can they ensure? How can they ensure that the children are exposed exposed to good content, things that they can properly emulate. How then? And it's a very good question. Scenario you just painted for now it's got me thinking. What once again, if you have toddlers, right? If you have preschoolers, if you have teenagers right now, okay? These three categories, very important. All right. How do you ensure that they are copying the very best of you? Once again, it's not a question of what you say, it's what you are doing. Are you sure the habits that you're exposing them to is going to change their lives for the good? 017-923-0003, 017-923-0007. All right. Once again, WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. That's WhatsApp and Telegram. Please do not call that number. Please, we beg of you, do not call that number. We have Omo on the line. Omo is speaking to us from Uniport. Good morning to you, Omo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, life is all about how you bring all your children, but not that we are talking about. You know, when you marry, your children are not there, but when you have children, they look like you.
True.
And
True.
as they look at you, the character may be like you. Look at your nose, look at your eyes, look at your everything look like you. That is how God created human beings. One, look at one thing you need to know in life. When you go outside, you say, is this a son of this person? They said yes. How did they know? It's because God has deposited that thing in you that looks like you. Carbon copy. God has created it that way that no man can ever challenge that.
But Omo, there's sometimes when some people, just like you said, will see a child and says, are you the son of Omo? They say yes, but you don't look like your father. You don't act like your father used to be a fireman. Look at, is this how you are embarrassing your father? Where did that child get that thing from?
The character may be different. One, they may resemble the mother side or somebody from your parents, but not from you. I remember, let me tell you something. There's a life I lived when I was in the village. I stayed like more than 7, 8 boys in the house, and that is how we were living. And I never even think of marriage. But when I married and have my children, before I would go home, I must say like 5, 6 in the house. Sometimes I will chase them. They will go to your house, but the parents will say, "I used to chase their children." I said, "That is how I want them to be because they cannot come at the house." I believe that is what I was doing when I was home, and that is the same thing that they were doing. And they were not born there. You see life. So God has just created it that way. The character of who they follow. Because sometimes you wake up early morning and you go, but when they come back like you, sometimes they sing like you, sometimes they dance like you. You may not be dancing when they were there.
That's a possibility. So, Omo.
Thank you. Push on God.
All right, thank you very much. He does have a point. Sometimes genes play a big role. All right, maybe the child subconsciously, maybe from the womb, has inherited that. But what about the other traits that you are not exposing them to, and they eventually copy? Because once again, there are some children who are born into homes of doctors, but they turn out to be dancers. Where did that come from? Ola is speaking to us from LMA. Ola, good morning.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Ola. Welcome, please.
It's an interesting topic. I looked at so many things, so many circumstances or criteria that may have influenced the character or the lifestyle of the child. Now, the father has his own character with the mother. They've lived together, so they both manage whatever you see in the house is what the father and mother have agreed to make their new lifestyle. It's expected that the children that comes up follow them on that pattern. That's why you can see this one and say this is the son of this and this is the son of that. But now we're looking at what changes this attitude over time. Now, the people you bring in to come and stay with you, have their own lifestyle, and because the mother and father are always going out, they're not always there. The uncle, the auntie, the brother, or whoever is staying at home, the child begin to do what? Learn their way of life. And that's why you see a pastor's son can come up to her and begin to smoke weed and begin to behave somehow because somebody
you have a point
that seems to be somewhat closer to in the house is influencing him. Now, away from that, those of us that are privileged to live in the hostel will see different lifestyle that is different from what we acquire at home.
Okay.
And if what we learn at home does not make a quick impact on us, then we begin to learn from the society. So all these things put together makes these changes in the attitude of the children, of the child. On the other side again, we have controversies that come between the mother's character and the father's character. The father's character is not even easy to understand. Not like the mother. It's easy for you to pick from them when their way of life is straight. Even the neighbors can look and know that.
What do you mean straight? What do you mean straight?
What do you mean straight? The situation whereby, as you are now, I've stayed with you for a while. If there is a situation and your wife stands up to speak, I'll be able to know from where I sit that even if Jude comes, now we think Jude go speak talk. Because why? His ways are straight. He does not have controversy in his decisions and so on. But whereby you have this different character, green in the morning, yellow in the afternoon, and blue in the night, it will be difficult for the child to do what? Adapt. Even animals, your dog, if you give your dog different opinions, different actions, the dog will not be able to pick and respond to what you want at a particular point of time. Today you are bullying, next tomorrow you are shouting, the dog will not even understand you. So that's how it also affects the children.
Let me ask you. You see, so we read a message earlier. I was saying that parents are leaving the houses earlier these days. So for that period, maybe when mommy's at work and daddy's also at work, the parents cannot actually tell what their child is exposed to and what they are mirroring. So how do you, Ola? Let me ask you, how would you ensure that this period I'm going to be at work, my pikin, something good is entering my pikin? How do you do that?
Okay, Jules. Now the thing when you put inside the pikin mouth, and the pikin go chop, swallow. Now the period I'm at home, how am I helping them to do what? To know what they watch. Sometimes just give them the remote on their own. Give them the remote. Don't force them to watch news with you. To feed their interest.
Okay.
You don't see them watching music. You have their dancing and shaking boobs instead of watching other interesting cartoons. There are different kinds of cartoon channels. One are violence, some are enjoy and so on. When your child is tuning to that one instead of tuning to the educative one, you know there's a problem. Because if they can do that while you are at home, it means they will do more
when you are away.
At home. So when you sense these things, you correct it on the spot and make it a lifestyle.
Okay, Ola,
I'm visited a home where you don't on television in the morning. That's the principle of that house. And as the children grow up, they don't do it. They have to use the morning to do something else. I was saying I must be at home by 6 o'clock. As I'm old now, I'm 42. If I'm not at home by 6 o'clock, I must be at work. I must be at church. I can't be in a friend's house. I can't be in any social outing. I must be in my house. That's how I was brought up, and I'm following it up that way.
Interesting. Allah, you just gave us some pretty good insight there. Thank you very much, Allah, from LMA. Pleasure to have spoken with you. So Allah says sometimes you just let the child express what they've copied. That way you know where you need to make adjustments. Lucky is Alo. Lucky, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Lucky. Yes. Welcome.
Jude, we are talking about heroin. Okay. For me, I had an uncle and I also had my father. They're both late now.
Oh dear, sorry to hear that.
Okay. Now my father and my uncle are direct opposites of themselves. While my father was not a church person, my uncle was really a very religious person. And he was an elder in one of the churches in our community. So they both raising their children. But at the end of the day, we found out that myself and my siblings took the traits, the characters of my uncle. We became too religious and did almost everything my uncle did.
Were you staying in the house with your uncle? Were you staying in the house with your uncle?
We lived in the same compound while we were growing as children.
Okay.
Now, what happened is that my uncle's children became direct opposites of their father.
Oh, that's odd.
Yes. Most of them live life that their parents would not want to be proud of. And then my father was the opposite of theirs, became kind of a role model to other persons. I mean, they use us to give examples of how children should have behaved. So sometimes too, you could be a pastor and your children are smokers. It could be that the pastor, before he repented, had these smoking tendencies in him, or maybe he smoked one time or the other before he repented and became a pastor.
Yeah, but even at that, right? If that's the case, right? You know what they say in this country: I get time before no be property. So let's say the man who he has stopped smoking, right? So those are behavioral traits. Those are things and they're acquired. Nobody's born smoking, right? So
exactly.
So if the child wasn't seeing the father smoking, where did the child pick it up from?
Well, it's societal, like you said, it's acquired. You know, and one of the things they acquire, it can also be lost.
True.
But what is inborn, what is inbuilt, it's there.
True. It's very possible. Very possible. What can be acquired can also be lost. Well, we are learning every day. Lucky, thank you very much for sharing your insight. This morning. I make reference to that smoking thing because my friends from when we were old enough to start drinking, talking about when we got into university, I've always been teased. I have the lightest head of most of my friends, if not all of them. I cannot drink formative years. From as far back as beverages, whatever, crates. Then used to be bottles, glass bottles. So sometimes we'll go to the shop to help her carry the things inside and bring them outside in the morning when we can. My mother never brought beer to my house. If there was a celebration and she knew that they were going to have guests that would take alcohol, she will bring just enough for the guest, and that was it. And now that I'm thinking about it, and as I thought about it back then, I never got the urge. You know how say picking making taste time. My father never said, "Come and drink this thing." This ogogoro never did. In fact, I think the first time I tasted alcohol must have been in secondary school, palm wine. Right, just as I was about to graduate, because then went to Agenebude. And ladies and gentlemen, as I took that cup, that was the end. I slept the next morning. Till the very next morning. Palm wine. That was it. End story. And it was fresh. We just bring up. I take pork. Bam. It's good for you. We ate pounded jam that day. As I finished eating, I knew something was wrong with me. I just went back, slept. So I don't have the alcohol bug. You could say I mirrored my father. But I know that my father in his younger days, he was a boy, oh boy. WhatsApp messages now. 009-030-6416. No wonder they have two sides, negative and positive. This applies both in character, resemblance, and facial recognition. That's a one quote promise. Churchill says, "Good morning, Jude, my dear brother. This day, we as parents don't stay at home, but that does not mean that we can't still raise them well. Yes, they might be exposed to other things in school, but you can instill in them good morals. Like me, I leave home very early, but they have activities lined up for them that they can come back to from school, because we're in the world where the world is going to now. If we don't raise our children like our parents raised us, there will be problem." Churchill from Omagua. Destiny says, "Good Good morning, Jude. Please give Mr. Ola the clap, please. I agree. Ola from LMA gave us a fantastic submission. I agree. Motion seconded. If you forget anything that Ola said, look, let your child just be. Let them express to you what they're already copying. That's very profound. Obong Frank, another Frank. Okay, Obong Frank, thank you very much. We'll pass this along. Sometimes genes are strong. My husband behaves like his dad, though he does a different job from what his dad did. But my father-in-law died when my husband was about 13 or 14. When I met some of his relatives for the first time, I don't know what came over me. I just said, I'm looking for who my husband resembles, because it is none of you. And they actually said, yes, he's honest, hardworking, favored, and unusually wise beyond his age, exactly like our dad was. But my husband spent the least time physically with his dad out of all the ones he grew up with, because he's the last. Sometimes genes gonna gene. It's from Anonymous. Yes, sometimes the genes will pull a fast one on you. You can't escape it. Once again, are you aware of what you are exposing your children to? The traits before them, do you know that they come directly from you, or what you may or may not be showing them? Let's get to social media now. Facebook at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. That's where you find us on Facebook and on X. Precious Harry says, if you train up your child in a good way, no matter what, that fear will still be in that child even if you were not around. So it is very important the way you train up your child and put the fear, okay, and be fear and put the fear in them. Okay, put the fear in them. Precious from Port Harcourt. All right, Precious, thank you very much for that comment. The biggest problem we have today, Jude, is the screen. Whether it's your TV screen or your computer screen, it is the biggest problem we have. No matter what you instill in a child these days, if you don't cut down their screen time, they will copy any and everything from the world. And that means from television, from your WhatsApp pages, from your Facebook pages, anything. Instagram is a very big no-no in my house. Not because I don't trust Instagram, but I don't trust the people who use Instagram. My children are restricted from watching and viewing a lot of content online. It is not because I don't want them to see what the world is for, but I need to prepare them for the world. It's not that I don't want them to see the world for what it's for, but it's because I want to prepare them for the world. Does that make sense to you? It's not that I don't want them to see the world, it's that I want to prepare them for the world. I think it makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. I don't know if anybody who just heard what I just read maybe expatiate. I think I understand it, but I don't know. It's not that I don't want to prepare them for the world. Okay. Well, even I am learning every day. All right, let's take one more call before we wrap up. Don't forget, like I said, throughout today we have guests coming through. It's going to be a busy day. One of them, do I tell you? No, I'll wait. I'll wait till 11 o'clock. I'll tell you what that one person is coming to do specially later on by 11 o'clock. All right, and you should be following us on WhatsApp. All right, as always, 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. That's how you find us on WhatsApp and on WhatsApp is just Facebook and X is at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. Let me not mix them together. All right, big day coming up today. Like I said, Stan Slim is going to join me very shortly in the studio. We have other guests coming through. Entertainment 360, just stone throw away. Oh, accompanied by music and love dancing. It's Friday, right? It's Friday.